going on, everybody? It's Richard Koberger here, the Blue Collar Nerd. It's that time again. We've got some release notes to go over, and buckle in because this one has got some things that I've been waiting on that I really like, and I think you're gonna like them too. So first, under the highlight section of these notes, we're starting off strong because this is one of those features that I've been highly anticipating, and that is the Office Estimates redesign. So the Office Estimates interface has been completely redesigned. It's now cleaner, it matches the rest of the product better, it's a lot easier to use, and instead of me just telling you about it, let me show you. So now when you go to add an estimate from the Office, you're going to get this modal. From here, you can search for and select any pre-built proposal templates that you already have. And if you hover over the number of estimates here, you'll get a breakdown of what is within that proposal template. But if you're not using a proposal template and you just want to build an estimate on the fly, then you would click this Build Estimate button. Then we come to this page where we name our estimate and enter in the estimate summary. You can select a rate sheet here if you're using customer-specific pricing. Keep in mind that some of this may look a little different for you depending on how your account is configured. So a lot of you watching this probably won't see this rate sheet section. And you can choose an employee to mark as the sold by. Once we've got everything entered in there, we're going to click Create. And then we get to this estimate building screen. So from these buttons down here, we can enter in different items, tasks, equipment, materials, discounts and fees if that's a feature that you have enabled, or item groups. Again, item groups is a feature that you may or may not have enabled, but previously you weren't able to build item groups on the fly from the Office. You could only build them on the fly from mobile. And if you wanted to use item groups from the Office side, then you had to do that through estimate templates. But now, as you can see, you can build item groups on the fly from the Office. So I'll just build out a quick example estimate here. Okay, so here we have an example estimate built out. You can see that items are separated by type, so tasks are separated from equipment, which is separated from material. A couple other really cool things to note. If you click into any one of these line items here, you get this little thing that shows you all of the keyboard shortcuts that are available to you. So if you're somebody who builds a lot of Office side estimates and you want to be as efficient about that as possible, then it's probably best to learn these keyboard shortcuts so you can keep your hands on the keyboard. So we've got some pretty obvious ones like return to add a new line, tab to move to the next cell, shift tab goes to the previous cell, X and T to add a task, X and E to add equipment, X and M to add materials, X and F to add a discount/fee, and X and I to add an item group. Now on this side panel here, you'll notice that we are also getting price details and cost details, and it breaks down our gross margin for us there as well. This one's at 92%, so I'm pretty happy with that. There's also a payments tab in that side panel, but this estimate has not been sold yet, so there's nothing there. We also have this handy expand descriptions button, so by default you see some of these descriptions are cut off. That's just to fit as many line items on the page at once as possible. But you could manually stretch those, or you could just click expand descriptions, and then that's going to fit all of the description boxes to the text. And then once you're done and you want to go back to a more compact view, then you can click collapse descriptions and it collapses it all back down. Here in the top right hand corner, we have buttons to duplicate the estimate, email the estimate, print the estimate, or edit the estimate. That would take us back to let us edit like the name of the estimate and stuff. From here at the top, we can click into the opportunity there. If we wanted to sell this estimate, we would click into the opportunity. Plus we've got the follow-up date, a link to the invoice, the job number, and the status of this estimate. By the way, this general information section here can be collapsed if you want to get that out of the way. Let's see, what have I not covered? You can drag and drop any items that you need to drag around. Any of these numbers, of course, can be edited in line, so if I wanted to change my quantity there to 3, it's just as simple as typing that in. But I could also hit this edit pencil to get this flyout where I could make edits as well. So anyways, that's the gist of it. I really like this new design. I think this is a huge improvement over what we had before. All right, next under Forms and Media, we have some new job form triggers. So you can now trigger a form when a technician selects Perform Work Now, when they select Perform Work Later, or when a particular item is added to an estimate. More form triggers are always handy. One use case I could think of off the top of my head is like if when a technician selected Perform Work Later, well, you probably want to gather some information about what needs to be done and when we should schedule that. So you could trigger a form when that happens, and then that form could be automatically sent to the dispatcher or the manager or whoever needs that information. All right, next under inventory. The on hold date now automatically updates when jobs are rescheduled. That one's pretty self-explanatory. When you tied inventory to a job, that inventory would have an on-hold date for the date of that job. But previously, if that job was rescheduled, the on-hold date wouldn't change and it had to be manually updated. And now that's no longer the case. The on-hold date will automatically update for those inventory items. All right, next under marketing, we have automated SMS follow-ups for recurring services. In other words, you can now automatically send your customers text messages to remind them when it's time for them to schedule their maintenance. This feature is not technically part of this release. It was actually released off cycle, meaning it was released like in between releases. So this has been out for a little while and I've got a whole separate video on it, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it here. But check out that video if you haven't already. I'll put a link in the description down below. Okay, next under scheduling, we have another one that I am really excited about, and that is Schedule Assistant. So basically, Schedule Assistant is going to help your dispatchers find a time to schedule jobs that is most efficient for you that also works for your customer. So Schedule Assistant is an optional feature, but real quick, let me demonstrate to you a simple way to know if you need this. Go and sit down next to somebody who books jobs in your company and just watch how they do it. If it looks anything like this, okay, how's today at 4? Okay. How about tomorrow at 2? No. Okay. That's Saturday, can't do that. Monday at 3? Got it. Then you need Schedule Assistant. So let me show you how this works. Like normal, you'll fill out the basic job details on the call booking screen. Stand in the place where you live. Then you'll click this button that says Schedule Assistant, and that will bring up this page. Then you can input a date range. So if you're looking for something this week, you would put in that date range. You could also enter in a time range. So if the customer said that only afternoons work for them or something like that, you could enter that here. You could choose what days to look at. So we're going to ignore the weekend here. Job type and business unit will be filled in for us. And then we have these toggle switches to filter which technicians we want to see. So in this case, we're going to show technicians who have the skills assigned for this job and who have on-booked availability. We could also toggle on in this zone if we had technicians that only worked in certain zones. Then we hit search, and that's where the magic happens. So it is going to show us a menu of options highlighting the most efficient first, and then the options get less efficient as they go on. Now I'm showing this in a sample account, so there's not a whole lot of data here. So you're seeing that my guy Dan here is showing up as the best technician for like every option. He probably just has a house that is close to this job, and you can see that. So it says his first stop is his house. He's dispatching from home. And then boom, his first stop would be this 8 to 10. So in this admittedly not great example, you can see that this adds 8 minutes to his day, but all of them add 8 minutes to his day, and we have multiple pages here. So on the second page, we're getting into Matt, who is again dispatching from home but lives farther away, so this would be adding 10 minutes to Matt's day, so he's further down. But here's an example of what it looks like with a more filled in and complex schedule. So it's going to show you where it suggests putting it in, and it's going to show you how much drive time that is adding to that technician's day. Once you find one that's good for both you and the customer, then you'll click save, and then that will input all of that information for you. And now you're ready to book the job. Now you're also able to run Schedule Assistant from the dispatch board. So if you have separate CSRs and dispatchers, and the CSRs are just throwing jobs into unassigned, and then it's up to the dispatchers to find the best place, well, Schedule Assistant is still great for you as well. So you see here I have a job in unassigned. I can right click it and then click Schedule Assistant, and that will pull up that same page. If I did want to move something, I'm also able to run Schedule Assistant on jobs that are already on the board. I really love this feature. Dispatching is a difficult job, and there's a lot of factors to take into account at any given time. So I think Schedule Assistant is really useful to narrow down the infinite options to just a list of things that will actually make sense. Now, a couple of things to know about Schedule Assistant. One is that it is one of those features that you have to ask for, so if this is something that you want turned on in your account, talk to your CSM. Now, before you can use Schedule Assistant, you will have to first set up technician shifts. So you may already be using technician shifts, but if you're not, that is a prerequisite for Schedule Assistant. And there is a walkthrough in the knowledge base that can help you get technician shifts set up. And the other thing to know is that as of this initial release, Schedule Assistant does not yet talk to adjustable capacity planning. Now you can have both Schedule Assistant and adjustable capacity planning on, but if you go in and manually adjust your capacity, say you want to take away capacity for a certain day because it's going to be really hot and you expect a lot of demand calls for HVAC, Schedule Assistant is not going to know that you did that. It's going to show the actual availability for that day. At least for now, there are plans to integrate it with adjustable capacity planning in the future. Whew, all of those highlights. Man, I am thirsty. I think I could use a drink from my stainless steel water bottle from bcnmerch.com. bcnmerch.com. Complete with Take My Eggs sticker. If you know, you know. All right, next under the new section of these notes, we have a note about TitanAdvisor. TitanAdvisor is now available for all Office users. So previously, TitanAdvisor was really only for admins, but now TitanAdvisor will be available to all Office employees with tasks and trainings and best practices that are specific to their role, which is really awesome because I think TitanAdvisor is a really powerful training tool. Okay, next under the improvement section of these notes, we have a couple of accounting notes. Quantity amounts are rounded to 2 decimal places when exporting to QuickBooks Desktop. So there was previously a backend configuration for this, but that configuration is now going to be on by default. Making sure that that quantity amount is rounded to 2 decimal places prevents an issue where values rounded to tenths could change the balances on invoices and then result in balances that don't match ServiceTitan anymore. Next, under estimates. Display location, job, or project ID on online estimates. So you can now view the job address and job or project ID on your online and printed estimates. This helps you know what location and what job or project the estimate is used for. This is mainly helpful for commercial or construction work. Okay, next we have 2 notes that kind of go together. They are the Mobile Estimates Redesign and the HVAC pack. Now, I have talked about both of these features in a previous release notes when they were going into open beta, so I'll let Past Richard explain what these are. So, starting with the Mobile Estimates Redesign. Here's what mobile estimates look like now in the presentation view. You can see that each estimate has a picture associated with it. We can also show these info boxes for things like energy savings, rebates, and membership savings. Some of those are tied to the HVAC pack. We'll get to that in a minute. Another nice enhancement is that when you are drilled in looking at one particular estimate, you can now navigate between the estimates from this top menu here without having to back out and choose a separate estimate. So you have these forward and back buttons. And next is the HVAC pack, which is kind of a plugin that goes with the new estimate redesign. So with this, you get 3 things. You get a SEER energy savings calculator. So this lets you calculate the potential energy savings of a new system versus the customer's current one so that you can show the full value. There's a new rebates field. So if you have any rebates going on in your area, maybe the power company offers rebates for certain SEERs or something like that, you can input those here so that they show up for the customer and again, just builds more value. And we have a load calculator. And I just want to put out a disclaimer on the load calculator. This is not a full manual J. So the only way to get a truly verifiably accurate result is to do a full manual J calculation. Now there are plans to put a full manual J calculator in ServiceTitan in the future, but not yet. That's not this. Thanks, Past Richard, you handsome devil. Now, a couple of things I do want to point out on the HVAC pack. One is that if you do HVAC, then these features should be automatically enabled for you, but if for some reason they aren't, just talk to your CSM, they can get it toggled on. And the other thing I want to point out is that the SEER energy savings calculator and the rebates field are the only 2 features out of the HVAC pack that are now generally available. So that load estimator is remaining in open beta, so you can ask for it if you want it, but it will not be available by default. Okay, next under inventory. Item descriptions appear on inventory templates. Inventory managers can now see item descriptions when they update inventory templates. This improves accuracy and saves time because managers no longer need to look up items by their part numbers to see those descriptions. Next, we have a new confirmation message to confirm inventory adjustments more than 90 days in the future. And this confirmation box just reduces the chance that you accidentally make an adjustment that is too far out in the future that you didn't intend to make and then you have to remove it. All right, next under Marketing Pro Reputation Management. You can now bulk send responses to verified reviews. So under the reviews section of Reputation on the Marketing tab, assuming you have Reputation Management, you'll see this new button that says Bulk Response. Clicking on that will open up this page where reviews are automatically separated out into 2 buckets of positive reviews and negative reviews. And you can click this little 2 arrows button to move something over to the other bucket if you feel like it's in the wrong place. You also have these filters here, so you can filter by date range or the review source or star rating. And this will help you narrow things down if you want to customize your responses even further. Maybe you want to, for example, respond to Google reviews differently than you do to Yelp reviews or something like that. But once you have the list narrowed down of reviews that you're ready to reply to, then you can either select all of the reviews or pick and choose specific reviews and click this Send Responses button. And from there, you can put in your response. And you also have these merge tags available to you. So you can put in customer name or the star rating that they chose, the technician's name, or just the customer's first name. Then you hit respond all and you're done. All of the reviews are replied to. Okay, next under purchasing, we now have the ability to set a default purchase order type. So purchasing managers can now select a default purchase order type in settings. This helps ensure they use the correct purchase order type without having to remember to change it when they create a purchase order. Next, under reporting, we have some new KPIs on the jobs, technician, and office performance datasets. So under the jobs dataset, we now have total hours worked, start of working time, and end of working time. Under the technicians dataset, we also have total hours worked. And under the office performance dataset, we have calls require review, which displays the total number of calls that require a review. And finally, under support, we have the updated knowledge base experience. So the knowledge base has been completely redesigned. Here is what it looks like now. So you see we have some quick links to the Getting Started, Office Basics, Mobile Handbook, and FAQs. We also have things broken out into categories such as accounting, jobs and projects, and dispatch. And you can click See All under any of these or just click See All categories. And you'll notice navigating around, everything is very quick and snappy. Performance is greatly improved here. You'll see we have this side panel here that shows us related articles. We have this breadcrumb trail at the top so we could quickly navigate back to a previous page. On the other side here, we have these quick links to take us to the topics covered. We also have this floating button here that will always take us back to the top of the screen. Overall, just a nicer, updated, easier to navigate knowledge base experience. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Be sure to hit like if you liked this video and found it valuable. Be sure to subscribe to ServiceTitan's YouTube channel if you haven't done that already. Hit that bell so that YouTube notifies you anytime we upload a new video. And leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think and what you think I should make a video on next. Please remember that your engagement through likes, comments, and subscriber numbers are the ways in which my success is measured. And here's that video I mentioned earlier on the automated SMS recurring service follow-ups. Appreciate it. Peace.